Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
There can be too much of a good thing. Hi, this is Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today's episode is about over-decorating. And the question is, have you over-decorated? Have you ever over-decorated, Kelly?
I have, and we're going to talk about that. Yeah, and we're not talking about being over-decorating, like done with it. We're talking about doing too much of it. You really must leave spaces for the eyes to breathe. We've talked about negative space in the past, and it's so vital. There are obvious practicalities avoiding over-decorating, like you need a path through your room. You have to be able to sit on your sofa. But there's more to knowing if you were overdoing it, and that's what we're going to focus on today.
So when we talk about over-decorating, we're referring to the idea that it looks like you're trying too hard, that the design did not come together naturally, it didn't evolve over time. It's kind of the idea that you're forcing a look and it's not really working.
Yeah, nobody wants to be looking like they're trying too hard in anything, right? You got to make it look easy, smooth, like it was thought out, but not overthought. So there's kind of maybe a fine line here. I mean, there might be some obvious situations like, dare I say, a hoarder situation, but that's not what we're talking about, really. That's a whole different topic. This is maybe walking that fine line between doing it well and overdoing it.
Very true. And before we get into it, I wanted to kind of talk about how at one point this really wasn't a thing. It's a fairly new concept. And when I say new, I would say 20th century seems like the first talk of over-decorating. So, for example, in Victorian times, there was no such thing as over-decorating. They all over-decorated, and they just called it decorating. You know, this was the first time there was really a middle class. It was the industrial age, and suddenly people that's right. Suddenly people that weren't super rich could afford stuff. So they filled their house with stuff, and I can't really blame them. They kind of went a little crazy. They kind of overdid their rooms. They bought too much stuff. They embellished the embellishments. They just kind of did so much that if you looked at it now, it would feel kind of garish, that it was really over the top. But, it was kind of new to them. And I think even the Victorians got sick of the Victorian look, because what was next? Arts and crafts, which was clean lines, simple rooms.
We're going to point out areas and items where there's real peril of over-decorating. So anyone can over-decorate, and it really depends also on your particular style. Some styles, maybe like an English country style, lends itself to having a little more collections, a little more things, a little more stuff, a little more layers, all of that. Obviously, if you're a minimalist, you really are not in peril at all. So, you can skip ahead and listen to a different episode, but you might not be over-decorating. But maybe, maybe you're such a minimalist, you think maybe you are in your minimalist approach to decorating. But even a maximalist can over-decorate. There can just be too much, where you can't appreciate what you have because there are too many things around. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not a hoarding situation. This is not where there are boxes or old newspapers or just someone who can't get rid of things. This is just adding too many decorative elements to the room and making it kind of confusing and sort of taking away the sense of calm and peace that you want to get from any style of decorating. So Anita mentioned, the Victorians. Yes. And I think when we all think of the Victorians, we do think of a lot of decor, a lot of layers, darker colors, even too many plants. They loved their house plants, tassels, and this and that, and bullion fringe. So too much. So you kind of keep that in your mind. I think that's a sort of a great image to have floating around in your head. Doing this assessment as to whether you're over decorating doesn't mean you can't collect. It doesn't mean you can't display. So if your house kind of feels like a store, that's a good indication that you're over decorating. And you had asked me in the beginning, did I ever over decorate? Now, I'm sure I've done it in other areas at other times in other houses, but I remember in particular in this house. I think I tend to over decorate when it's a spot that is a little challenging to decorate. It's kind of that situation where, and maybe other people have experienced this, you're just like, let me just add one more thing. Like, I don't really know what to do here, but if I just add one more thing. So I have talked to you all about that chair that I put in my kitchen and what a game changer that was for having my family hang out with me when I'm cooking and just having the kitchen be a much more social area. And that chair in particular is like a magnet for people and my dogs and everything. It's great. But prior to that, I could not figure out what to do in this kind of weird space in my kitchen. And so I put a bistro chair. And then I was like, then I had a bird cage there. Then I had something else. Then I had a plant. Then I had something else stacked on top of that. Then I had, I think, some lanterns, big tall lanterns. And I was like, this is so dumb. Like, why do I have all this stuff by my back door to my kitchen? It's not adding anything. And honestly, it looks like everything should have price tags on it because it looked like a store. But it took me a while to figure it out, right? And it was a situation where I totally had over-decorated that space. It didn't work for me at all. It wasn't adding to the functionality of the room at all. In fact, it was taking away from it because it kind of looked stupid when you really thought about it. I mean, each item was pretty together, but yeah, if I had a gift shop or something, it would have been perfect, but it's my kitchen. So I deconstructed all of that. Let me get a chair. Got the chair, put one little table next to it, and wham, it totally changed the space. It became usable, which, a lot of your decorating, if not everything you do about decorating, should really lead with the functionality. It became a functional spot and a very popular spot. And nobody had to worry about, knocking over a lantern when they went in and out of the back door. So that was definitely the most egregious act of over decorating that I've done in the recent past.
Oh, that's an excellent example. And I think another example would be to take one detail and put it too much in a room. Like you talked about the bullion fringe. That's great on a sofa. I love that look. But if it were on every chair in the room also, that would look too much. I don't see that done, but what I do see is maybe there's a particular, like somebody likes a black check, and then they put a black check tea kettle in the kitchen, and then they do a black check tea towel, and then a black check sign. And at that point, it's starting to look just a little too cutesy.
Yes.
Just take the one design element, add it judiciously to the room. Overdoing it starts feeling a little cutesy. And what you said about the shop, that's what we mean. If you have the one design element and it's everywhere, it looks like you're selling those things. It looks like a shop.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'll take the tea towel and the tea kettle. And do you have any pot holders?
And the pot holders.
Where's the checkout counter? Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
And the placemats, everything. Yeah.
And the napkin. We could just keep going on. But yes, as the English would say, that just becomes too twee, especially if it's a cutesy, I guess, sort of pattern or something like that. Yeah, maybe one or two things like that. And, you could carry the colors around, but not the exact little pattern everywhere. I totally agree. And I think that's something that people who are listening can sort of conjure in their mind. You've seen that happen before, or you've been in a store and that's been going on. If you've got that going on, you might want to break it up. There are definitely a lot of hot spots for potential over-decorating in a house. Firstly, too much pattern. Now, we have several excellent episodes on how to decorate with pattern, how to use patterns together. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. When Anita does the show notes, maybe she would be kind enough to link those episodes. So if you wanted to listen to that, you could. It's so easy. You just go to decoratingtipsandtrips.com and you search pattern and it'll come up, Anita. So you don't want to have too many layers of pattern because then it becomes just dizzying and you really can't, again, you can't appreciate the things you have there. So if you have a patterned sofa or a patterned chair, you might want to take it easy with the pattern that you put on it in the pillows or whatnot. Good rule of thumb is one big pattern, maybe a big floral or something like that, then a mid-size, maybe add in a paisley, something like that, and then a very small pattern, something really simple, or something that's just textured, sort of in the same palette. So that's a good rule of thumb. But, it really depends, obviously, on each pattern and how they work and play together. But you don't want to add too many in. It can be done. You'll say, oh, Kelly, but I've seen that in, really high-end stores or in high-end magazines or design decorating books where they pull that off. Yeah, but that's decorating 4.0 or something. You really have to be super good at it to pull that off.
Right.
So I would say if you think you're in peril of over-decorating with different patterns, pull some out and see how it feels. You can, if they're pillow covers or things like that, you can rotate them around, use them at different times. Don't use them all at the same time on the same piece of furniture.
Right. So we've talked about don't take one detail and use it too much in a room. And also don't be matchy too much. I think some repeated pattern is good, but it can be overdone. And then another thought is to add some tension to the room. You want something in the room that maybe on the surface doesn't feel like it really goes in there. I like to mix rustic things in a formal room and elegant things in a casual room.
I love that. And I like decorating like that too, but you're really, really good at that. Hey, too much furniture. You might just have too much stuff in the room. And even if it's just extra things that you haven't really put a lot of decorating effort into, or it's a lot of stuff that you did put a tremendous amount of decorating and design effort into it. It all sort of amounts to the same thing. It's just too much and it's overdone. So pull some of those pieces out. Give your room some negative space. Give your eye a place to rest and see how the room feels then. You can always put it back in. And on the same note, too many little things. That can be overwhelming.
Yeah. Too many little things starts looking really cluttered.
Yes. So that could be, just little trinket boxes. It could be a collection. It could be framed pictures. Sometimes when there's just too many, you can't really appreciate them. So clear it off and just take a fresh look at it and then put back, as Anita used that great word, judiciously, the ones you really, really love. And if you really love a lot of them, put them all together in one place. Don't have big groups of them all over, right? If you must have several of whatever you collect, or you have a giant family and you need to have a picture of everyone or something like that, then, have one table where it is all together. So it's almost like one unit. And we don't want you to feel like you can't have your collections or you can't have your photos and whatnot. But if you have so many groupings all over a room, that is really in the realm of over decorating.
Now, the exception is dishes. You can't have too many dishes. They're okay in a large collection. That's the only exception I'm going to have to offer there.
Asterisk at the bottom of the show notes if we are not talking about dishes here. It's okay.
And I would say the other thing with the over decorating, when people fill up all the spaces, it feels stressful. It feels kind of claustrophobic in the room. So you really do want these blank spaces. You want some empty space for your eye to rest.
Yeah, because negative space is space. The negativity, the emptiness is adding to the room. It's not someplace that you have to fill. I.e., back to my example of me wanting to fill that area in my kitchen. I did ultimately put one large thing there with a little tiny side table, but I didn't have a whole bunch of things that I was just filling up the space. We have this tendency to want to fill the space. I say, take it away and then have a look at the space and maybe put back half of what you had. and pick out the best. Great minds can disagree, but you can have too many pillows.
Yes, that's true.
Whether on the sofa, a chair, or your bed. So it becomes a chore to take them all off. Or you find that when people are coming to your home, they're actually taking them. I once had this brown, I don't know, it was like velour or something. I don't know, like that plushy material, this little love seat combo that my mom had in their little office in one of their houses that she gave to me, and then I brought to like 3 different apartments. And it was great furniture. It looked great. They hardly ever used it. It was in great shape, but it had so many pillows that came with it. And back then I was just like, well, they came with all those pillows. I'm going to use all those pillows. And they were filled with, there was no down involved. It was something foamy, right? So you literally could not even sit. You had to push back.
Oh,
sit
no.
on the thing. And people would end up taking them all off. And it would, you'd end up sitting on almost just like the wood frame. It was better than all the pillows that came with it. But then some people would leave. I put all my pillows back on there, and I'm sure I had some decorative pillows on there too. It was just ridiculous. That I finally realized that, you know what? I'm just going to give away some of these pillows because they're not working for me. So if you find that either yourself or people that come to your house are taking the pillows off your couch and putting them gently on the ground because they can't sit there, you've over-decorated that piece of furniture with too many pillows. And
Very
the same
true.
thing with your bed. I mean, it's lovely to have maybe a long bolster or a couple of euros and maybe even a small little boudoir-sized pillow. We all love a beautiful bed, but if it becomes an event to break down the bedding set every night before you get in and then to put it all back together in the morning, they've probably over-decorated your bed. I don't want to have that many pillows on the bed, but I want to have large enough ones where it's going to make an impact. And if I did want to sit on the bed with the pillows on there, I'd want to be comfortable, just like the sofa or the chair. You'd want to be able to actually get in the bed or sit on that piece of furniture. So think about that. And I do it too. Sometimes you hold on to pillows beyond their really vital lifespan, just because you're like, oh, that one's fine. It's a neutral. So if you've got some pillows in your collection that could make their way out, just let them go, right? Maybe keep the inserts if it's a good insert, and then do a rotation. You don't have to always have the same pillows out en masse.
Oh, very true. And if you just have the pillows on your sofa that came with your sofa, it might be time to take those off and put on some different pillows, or just take those pillows and cover them with new covers, just for a different look, again, to kind of mix up the pattern.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quinn's. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor. And I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants.
I think another place we can get over-decorated is with your bookcases when they're overstuffed, and that just happens over time. And of course, I've seen plenty of an English library that is cram-packed with books. I mean, so it's a thing. It's certainly a look you can go with, but if you have if they're just books, I think you can fill them up all the way. But if you've got decor there.
Okay, so if you have a British accent and a tweed blazer and a pair of wellies at the door, you are allowed to have a crowded bookcase. But if that's not you, maybe you want to think about your
I guess what I'm saying is if you're using it just really for books, obviously you might need it full of books. But if this is kind of a decor statement in your house, then just make sure you don't have too much decor in there. That's kind of what I'm saying. And the same thing goes with your side tables and your coffee table. If you don't have a place to set a glass down, it's over-decorated. You really need to make it functional and usable.
So let's talk about what you should do if you think you might be over-decorated.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. Maybe listen to this one more time. Now, we're with you. Let's walk around your house and have a look at each one of the rooms. Be honest. Be objective. Don't think about, oh, I love that. Oh, that's a picture of my kids. Oh, that's 40 pictures of my kids. Go into the room. Try to have objective eyes. See, can you appreciate the things in the room? Can you appreciate the things that you really like about that room? Are you enhancing the items that you have by having them together in that space? It might not come to you in 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 10 minutes. This could take a while. You might have to keep going into these particular rooms to really have a good, hard look at it. That's what I would call it, a good, hard look. And if something keeps kind of coming to you like, I don't really need, nobody sits in that chair. I don't even like those 3 pillows, right? Take those items out and just see how it feels. Okay, so that's the first assessment. I would think take a good, hard look at your rooms. And certainly if you walked in and you were like, wow, okay, where's the shopping cart and where's the checkout? And you feel like your house is like a store, you're definitely in the over-decorating realm, but we can help you. We can move those things around and move those things out. Maybe you can get people to actually come buy some stuff. That would be awesome. If you want to move stuff out, you find a friend like Anita has, somebody who will resell your things or somebody who would really like to take them off your hands. But that is the second step. So the first is a really hard look and make sure you can appreciate what you have. Take the things out, see how the room feels. And then I have 3 words I want you to think about in your head when you're doing this hard look. Remove, rotate, and reposition. Right? So you can easily remove. You can always put back. You can rotate. I alluded to that with the pillow covers, but that can be with lots of things. That can be with decor items, vases. It could be with pictures. Sometimes people just hold on to a lot of pictures and add them. Maybe you don't need all the pictures. Then reposition. Anita is famous for it, and I do it as well, is reposition things. Take them from that room that maybe you just have one room that's over-decorated and move it into another room. You love the item, but it's not working in that room. Try it someplace else. So hard look, remove, rotate, and reposition. And if you really think you're over decorating, sign up for a consult with us.
Right. Are you ready for DTT Defines?
I am.
Well, last week we talked about my Charoust table, and you said, oh, we could do that as our DTT Defines today. And I was thinking, I think I already did that, but I didn't want to say because I didn't remember. I did check, and in episode 488, so it was a while back, I did cover that. I mean, I'll link to it so you can go there, but quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and say what that is. And that's basically where you push wax into the grain and then remove the excess. Typically, charousing happens on an open grained wood that's dark, and the charousing wax is white. I actually used a lighter grained wood when I charoused, and I used paint instead of wax. So that is what charousing is, just as an update, since we didn't really explain it in the last episode. And then today I'm going to define rafter tails. I love the term. It just sounds fun.
It sounds like a bird.
Yeah, it does. I have a craftsman style home. This style was very popular around 1910, and my house has rafter tails. So these are the beams that extend beyond the structure of the house that seem to support the roof. That's a rafter tail. But a more specific definition is the exposed exterior portion of the building's wood structure truss, which projects beyond the exterior wall of the structure. So it secures to the top of the wall or tie beam, then extends to support the soffit overhang, which is why I explained it kind of before I said all this, because that's kind of the official definition. And depending on where it's used on a home, it can also be called an outlooker, outrigger, lookout, or tailpiece. But this is very common on craftsman-style homes where you just see this exposed beam supporting basically the soffit and the roof. So, Kelly, what's your crush?
Oh, my crush is this book. It's fantastic. If you like houseplants, or better yet, even if you're a little afraid of houseplants, this is a book for you. What is my plant telling me? An illustrated guide to houseplants and how to keep them alive, by Emily L. Hay Hinsdale. It is a great little book. It would be such a great book for anybody who wants a houseplant, is afraid of houseplants, as I mentioned, but also a great little book to bring as a hostess gift. Maybe you bring a little houseplant and then this book. It's so cute. You actually go through the book. I'm flipping through right now. I'm just find one for you. Okay, Fiddle Leaf Fig on page 75. So a lot of people have those. It gives you what the fiddle leaf fig will want, and then it tells you if it's doing this, if it's got brown edges or yellow leaves or dropping leaves or brown spots, right? And then it tells you what your plant is telling you based on what its symptom is. It's a great little reference book for all common houseplants. There's so many plants in here. And so it might be plants you already have or a plant that you would like to add to your home. So we will link it in the show notes.
That sounds like a great book. That would be very helpful.
It is. It's a great little reference. It's really cute the way she put it together. It's super clever.
So my crush is the Spode Stafford Blooms pattern of dishes, which is fairly new. I know this is not a surprise, but this was kind of my birthday present to myself.
Self-gifting is the best.
I got some money, so this is how...
How did you know you wanted that, Anita?
Well...
I'm so...
I know.
Wow.
Well, you know, Spode is one of my favorite manufacturers. And did you know it's now owned by Port Marion?
No, I did not know.
Well, in doing a little research, I found that out. Mm-hmm. These are made in England, so they're better quality than, you know, I don't like dishes made in China. I just don't. They're just
no China made in China.
No, don't get your China made in China. That's right. Well, it used to be good, but
that's confusing.
Not anymore. My approach with dishes these days, because I do love dishes and I do get bored using the same ones. So what I have in my kitchen is I buy things in sets of 4. So I have 4. I have about 5 different patterns, but I just have 4 plates of each design, and they all go together. So it's just a fun mix and match, kind of the fiesta dish kind of style of things where you kind of have different looks and they all kind of work together. These are all, actually, in fact, one of my dishes, they're all kind of, the theme is kind of purple. So I have some Portuguese light purple plates. They're kind of light lavender. And then I have dark purple that are actually Fiesta. And then I have like 3 or 4 different spode patterns that have some lavender in them that all work together. So this particular pattern is very modern. They just came out with it, and the flowers are really large, and it's an asymmetrical pattern, so it's just one pattern. It doesn't repeat at all, and it's really pretty, and they have kind of different shaped plates. I just got the dinner plates and the salad plates, but it just kind of mixes, and I'll include a link to it, but they're fun and fresh, and they're really pretty.
I love listening to you describe them because you can hear how excited you are about them. So good. It's so good when you get what you really want for your birthday. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. I think it's brilliant that you only buy 4 of each thing. You have 4 people in your family. And if you had more people over, obviously you have other sets of 4. So you can mix and match, as you say, and they all go together. But you're not burdened, in a sense, with the gigantic set of china where you've got 12 of this and 12 of that and 12 of something else. And because where are you storing all that stuff? And that would then slip you into the over decorating. Like if you had a full set of all the dishes you love, I don't know, you wouldn't be able to move around.
Right. And then,
so
and then
that
if
would
you
be
do
bad.
this, then you just get, I have some very plain serving dishes and they just go with whatever. So that's the kind of, so I'm not buying bowls in all of them. I have just white bowls. So they go with all the plates. And then all my serving dishes are all white. So it works. And that's kind of how you can have so if you get bored easily, like I do, you can do this. You save a lot of money not buying 12 of everything. And then you can have like a different plate to use, like every day of the week.
And that's awesome. And no fear of over decorating with that. Caveat, dishes don't count. Okay, great. So much fun today. I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did too. And remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.